Hey guys, you might have noticed that I have been absent from YouTube for a few weeks now. I actually had eye surgery on my pterygium, I don't know, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, so it's been 2 weeks. And if you follow me on other platforms, you were able to keep up with the saga, but I did not make a full YouTube video until now. I did want to break down how my surgery went and the ins and outs of it because I was not prepared at all for what happened. Now, going into my surgery, I had gone over the procedure with my doctor several times, and I'd gone over pre-op instructions with the nurse on the phone. But when it came down to the actual surgery, I was not prepared. So when they gave me the pamphlet for the surgery after my post-op, I read through it again to go over it. And apparently, they do this surgery while awake. You are given anesthesia, of course, but in the pamphlet, it says that you will be given anesthesia, but it is conscious sedation because we need you awake so that you can move your eye, but you won't remember anything. And in my head, I was like, okay, cool, easy peasy. I am not gonna remember this traumatizing surgery of having my eye cut at all, right? Turns out that is not how it works for me. I spent a lot of time in my truck, and over the years, I have struggled to find a phone holder that is easy to use and won't fall off of the windshield like all of the suction cup ones do. That is why I am so thankful that I found the OmniLock magnetic car charger from ESR. It's a magnetic phone holder and car charger that hooks right into your vehicle's vent. The shock-absorbing silicone pad keeps it super stable. And with the anti-over-tightening system, installation is worry-free. Just snap your phone right onto the car charger and use your phone, no need to hold or touch it. And with the super strong magnets, your phone stays secure even on bumpy roads. As you can see, the arm rotates freely so you can get the perfect angle. Click the link below in the description to help support the channel, and thank you to ESR for sponsoring this video. They give me the anesthesia, and through the whole thing, I feel like it's not very strong. Obviously, they use a local on my eye, but honestly, it was the freakiest thing I've ever been through. I did not like it at all. So he starts by, removing the growth on my eye and cutting it back. And I know I was completely with it because he was talking to one of his assistants and asking her to put, I think it was a saline solution on my eye as he's working. And every time she squirts it in there, and every time he calmly says to her, I just need 1 or 2 drops each time I ask. And she says, okay, no problem. But each time she squirts it in there, doesn't do 1 or 2 drops. And I think this happened 3, maybe 4 times. And each time, I love this guy for this because I would get frustrated. If my assistant in any situation I've explained how to do it properly and then they don't do it properly. And then, but no, this guy, super kind. He's like, each time I just need 1 or 2 drops. And now I kind of laugh about it. But at the time while I was listening, I was like, well, I'm not going to remember this, but I clearly remember it. But anyway, so how the surgery went, the surgery went well. They take the growth, they remove it, and then they move your eyeball down and they cut a little of basically the skin and graft it right where they removed the growth. So it went well. It was super simple. It's pretty common. I go home, they don't give you anything to take home for pain. They don't give you any pain drops, but I had this eye patch on. I'll add pictures of the process of this. So I have a picture of me with this eye patch on. I apparently am a wimp because my eye hurt so bad. I had both my eyes closed on the way home, and I don't know if it was the medication they gave me or me riding in the car with my eyes closed, but I was super nauseous when I got home. Luckily, I had anti-nausea pills here from when I had my last surgery, and so I took one of those and I started feeling a little bit better, and I was in a lot of pain, but they don't give you any pain medication at all to take home. So you're just supposed to take Tylenol or ibuprofen, and I took some of that. It hurt. It was hurting really bad, and then I just I ate something and went to bed because I didn't get home until like 6 p.m. because my surgery was in the late afternoon. That was the last one of the day. So Friday morning, I wake up and I'm like, okay, well, my eye hurts, but I'm okay. And I drive myself to my first post-op appointment. And I actually even went grocery shopping after, and I felt pretty good. And then I came home and I rested the rest of the day, and Bobby was home, and he was taking care of Rem, and you know, it was a pretty good day. I chilled most of the weekend. I was supposed to go do some work on Sunday, but it was sunny out and my eyes are really sensitive to the sun, and I wasn't going to be able to drive in that. And on Friday, I had felt so good that I had said, yes, I'll work Monday. And in my head, I was thinking, you know what? It's just my eye. If it hurts, it hurts. It's going to hurt whether I work or not. If it's terrible, I won't work Tuesday. Monday morning rolls around, I wake up, my eye hurts. Luckily it's cloudy, so I get ready and I go to work. I make a couple of videos about the day, and throughout the day, the pain gets better until it doesn't. So first thing in the morning, the pain was worse, and then it got better, and then about 3/4 of the way through the day, I was in Bellingham, about ready to dump out, and I just started getting waves of nausea and hot flashes, and I was like, okay, well, luckily the day is almost over. I just have to dump out and then I can just go right home. No big deal. And it ends up being a bit of a big deal because after I dumped out, I needed to take a break, and I went to the truck stop in Bellingham. I can't remember the name of the Lummi tribe has a truck stop up there, and I just parked at the truck stop and I sat in here and I was kind of like this. I think it was a good 45 minutes that I just sat in the truck with the truck off, with my eyes closed, resting. And when I left the truck stop, because I was supposed to work the next day, I called the company I was working for and talked to their dispatcher, and I was like, hey, I will work tomorrow if you really need me, but is there any way you could possibly give the load to somebody else? And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. He's like, I was pretty worried about you when I saw you earlier. Like, he's like, but if you want, you know, like when you're ready to come back, call me and, you know, we'll get you going again. And I was like, okay. And in general, I just felt awful. My entire body just felt gross. I go home, I park the truck, I head inside, I go to use the bathroom and put my eye drops in. At that time, I was using 2 different drops 4 times a day. And I went to go put my eye drops in the bathroom. And this is the first time I've looked in the mirror all day. And the spot on my eye, which I have photos of it, I'll post some photos as we're going through this, but the spot on my eye is now way bloodier looking, and there's more of like a bump to it, and I kind of panic. I'm like, oh my god, it's like developing a blood blister underneath the graph, and I kind of start freaking out, and I ask my husband, I'm like, look at my eye, does it look like there's a blood blister developing under the graph? And he goes, oh yeah, it does. And I'll show a picture of it here. So I call the doctor his like after hours line, and I talk to him, and he's like, well, we'll get you in first thing in the morning. If it starts to bleed, or you're in like a lot of pain, or you get a really bad fever, go to the ER. And I was like, okay, cool. One of his office gals calls me the next day, and we schedule an appointment that morning for an hour later. And I get dressed and I go to that appointment. I get checked out, and he tells me, he's like, oh yeah, it looks way worse, but he's like, when I look at it through, like he's looking through his little special lens with drops that illuminate it, and he's like, it looks good from here. He's like, it just looks really bruised, and that's why it looks like it has a blood blister. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And he's like, I don't think that you did anything to hurt yourself. I do think you need to rest more, but you didn't make it worse. And I was like, okay, good. So I go home and vow to rest. It is really hard for me to just lay around. I want you guys to know that, especially when the only thing that hurts is my eye. But I lived with the memory of how I felt when I overdid it and just feeling completely blah. Honestly, I was in a lot of pain right up until about 8 days after surgery. 8 days after surgery is when I finally felt like, yes, I can go back to work and I can, I can actually do this. I ended up working Monday, a week and a half after my surgery, and I felt great. If I don't use my steroid eye drops, my eyes do get a little inflamed, but I'm still supposed to be using them 4 times a day for the next 2.5 or 3 weeks. So I'm gonna keep up on that, and I'm definitely gonna plan differently when I have my other eye fixed, because if you've been keeping up, you know that over the summer, the ophthalmologist discovered that I also have a pterygium in my right eye. And where that pterygium is right now in its growth pattern is right about where my left eye was in February. So it's November now. So I'm gonna guess that sometime in the spring, I'm gonna end up having to have surgery on my right eye. I'm gonna use my steroid drops to try to keep that from happening, but it may just push it out to the middle of the summer, which is really inconvenient, so I'd rather do it in the spring. But if you have this growth on your eye and you have this surgery done, don't be like me. Don't be too stubborn. Just take the week off that they recommend initially from work and relax, because I think I made it way worse on myself going to work on Monday when I should have just taken the whole week off and waited. I really love working, and I am very stubborn, and it is really hard for me to lay around and not do anything. But I think when it comes to eye recovery, it's very important, and I made a mistake and I shouldn't have done that. And all of you guys that follow me on other platforms lecturing me about how I should be resting, thank you, I appreciate it. I don't listen. We know that. I don't listen. I am stubborn. It's been a really interesting recovery also. Since I've had my surgery, I've met several people that have had the same surgery and had good experiences and bad experiences, and I actually have really enjoyed talking to people. There's been a few people that told me that it looked like I got in a bar fight, and I was like, yeah, I told one guy that because he was loading my truck, and I told him, he goes, "Your eye looks terrible." And I was like, yeah, the last guy that loaded my truck hit my sideboards and we got into it. And he goes, and I was like, I'm joking. Don't, I didn't fight some guy and him hit me. It was pretty funny. But, it's funny because there's a lot of great guys out here, and he basically, the look on this guy's face said, no. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for your support through all of this, especially if you commented on other social media platforms like Facebook or TikTok. I really do appreciate you guys watching all my videos and supporting me through all of this. And if you're going through this, I am really sorry, because it does really suck. If you are a driver, I really hope that this never happens to you, because it is not very fun. Thank you so much for watching, and if you are not subscribed yet, please do that now. It really helps the channel out, and I will see you next time.